Hi, and welcome to a Drafthouse Diary for Friday, December 29th, 2023, when I went to the Alamo Drafthouse at Westminster, Colorado to see Ferrari. Some acknowledgments up front here. I love cars. I like auto racing, not quite as much as I like movies, but still a lot. So I had really been looking forward to this movie. Also, the fact that it was created and directed by Michael Mann, best known for things like Miami Vice and, of course, Heat, also known for the movie Manhunter, which was the first adaptation of the first novel in which Hannibal Lecter appears, and for my money, the best Thomas Harris adaptation there is. But that's off the topic. Ferrari, now this is kind of a tough movie to talk about because it's two movies stuck together, or it could have been two movies. It features Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari, Penelope Cruz as Lara Ferrari, and Shailene Woodley as Lena Lardi, who is Ferrari's mistress, second wife. It's kind of confusing, and that's what a big part of one of these two movies is this personal life of Enzo Ferrari and his relationship with his wife, with whom he built the Ferrari sports car company, and who owns much of the company and the factory, and this woman with whom he began a relationship, this other woman with whom he began a relationship during the war, and who bore him a son. And he has essentially had this second family. And they established that very early in the movie, but so much of this is him trying to balance his different obligations and not doing so very well, necessarily, and the tensions that creates with all these other people in his life, including his son, who, the character, Enzo, obviously loves this boy very dearly, but there are limits to the degree to which he can be part of his father's life. So that is a complex, character-driven drama. But at the same time, we have the movie about the Ferrari company and Ferrari racing. And as the character of Enzo Ferrari puts it at one point, comparing himself to Maserati, Maserati races so that he can get publicity to sell cars. Ferrari sells cars so he can afford to race. He's a former race car driver, and racing is what he lives for. And selling enough cars to race is really as much as he needs to do. But that's not bringing in enough money, and his company is in jeopardy. And one of the ways to save the company would be to gain the publicity that would come with winning the Mille Miglia, the 1,000-mile road race in Italy. Run on public roads, safety, not a big consideration back in those days. This is all taking place in 1957. So therefore, it's kind of a corporate drama as well, but a very personal, very character-driven corporate drama. And of course, maybe this is a third movie that's stuck in there. It is a movie about car racing. And the acting for all of the other parts, for the business movie, for the interpersonal character drama, very, very good acting. I have to admit, one of the things that got me into the theater was the promise of Michael Mann directing vintage road racing scenes. And it didn't disappoint. It was slow to get there. We get enough cars and enough car racing in the build-up because most of the earlier parts of the movie were those earlier stories, those other stories I was talking about. But this road race is the culmination of many of these elements. And there's some great racing footage. There was some race imagery and a racing scene at the very beginning of the movie that had me a little bit concerned, because if this was the caliber of the image that we were going to get and the visuals we were going to get, I was worried because they weren't very good. They were establishing Enzo Ferrari's history from being a race car driver in his youth. And they had footage of vintage auto racing, and occasionally cutting to Adam Driver as a young Enzo Ferrari in the cockpit of one of these race cars winning a race. It didn't go together that well, the vintage footage plus these shots of Adam Driver, doctored, I presume, to make it look as if they were part of the vintage footage. It didn't work that well. I have to admit, every time they cut to Adam Driver as Ferrari driving the car in these scenes, I thought more about Driver's recent appearances on Saturday Night Live and thought this was some kind of sketch comedy than I did think about this as a serious racing scene. Those took me out of the movie, or let's say they prevented me from getting into the movie until we got past those and got into the better direction, better visuals, very good action editing. And overall, I eventually got what I came for when it comes to race footage. Speaking of that race footage, though, I mentioned that safety was not a big concern for people running and participating in these road races in the 1950s. That is a part of the plot. And very suddenly and very shockingly, we get some very, very graphic, violent footage of what can go wrong. So I just want to make sure that anybody going to this movie has at least some awareness that they're going to see some very gruesome things before the end of the film. That kind of shock notwithstanding, and I wouldn't say it was gratuitous. It was powerful and impactful, not entirely gratuitous. That notwithstanding, I enjoyed the movie very much. Other parts of this trip to the Alamo. The pre-show was a lot of things about car racing. It started with a Betty Boop cartoon about an auto race. The trailer for the movie Magnificent Obsession, the Rock Hudson version. Some various silent movie comic shorts about car racing, an odd car racing related music video from Carousel, and very welcome, a non-spoilery background reel about Enzo Ferrari and Ferrari Motors and about the Mille Miglia auto race and some other races from that time period. So I thought the pre-show for this was very well done. Food and drink, I got the Margherita pizza. I've had that before. It's always good. It was very good this time. And the theater, very comfortable as always. Staff, very friendly as always. The movie theater was still decorated and decked out for the holidays. That's still always fun. So overall, another great trip to the movies. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this, please click that like button down below. If you want more Drafthouse Diaries, click subscribe. I will be back with more soon, and in the meantime, if you are interested in another auto racing movie that I reviewed, check out here for my review of Gran Turismo, a very different movie about a very different kind of auto racing.